all kinds of very, very dangerous diseases immediately attacking your system and killing you. So in order to try and avoid that, I've done 5 playthroughs up until this point. Hello, Druid. I just began like some very... We're near the helm. Yep, exactly. So I have, I think, 3,100 hours in this game. I have 1,000 hours on will, approximately. I think it's about 1,000 hours. It's insane amount of time locked into playing that Origin. So at that point, like, I need to get to a point where I try to keep myself motivated to play the game. Yeah. No, but what I'm going to do now for the next half an hour is I'm going to run the Grove Defense simulation 5 times. The 2 Marshals and Astarion and I think Shadowheart as well. So all I've done really is created an Origin beginning character and statted the character up the way that I wanted to be statted up, and then basically run through the Nautiloid, get to the beach, go to this cliff right here, save the game. That's all. So I have 4 or 5 saved instances like this where I have a character absolutely ready to go, and I'm going to execute this combat 4 to 5 times, and we'll see what happens. Enjoy. So first off, we have Karlach. Karlach is starting off strong with a very low initiative, but we know she's going to do well because she is going to be overpowering these guys like there's no tomorrow. The bugbear's running for it, missing. Ramira's missing. And she's doing her ninja moves and missing. The good guys are off to a relatively poor start, but so are the bad guys. Miss on the nasty Ray of Sickness. Immediately rage. Lacerate, come on. Reckless attack. Yes! And there is a kill. Moving slightly back to avoid the new Ray of Sickness coming. Several being a good guy. Temporary hit points.
By sickle and sword, strike them down.
Having will in this fight is an unbelievable difference. When you've done this fight like 200 times or something, not having that guy in the fight, it seems redundant, but it's like makes it night and day. I mean, sometimes he throws potions, right? Oh my goodness. Stay down. Am I poisoned? I am not poisoned. So I intend on attacking you and pushing and going back.
Down the hatch.
Getting that free extra attack just seems to be seems to be carrying the early game for the barbarian in my experience. That and the rage is very, very strong. Thank you, Will. The advantage, yeah, the additional, yeah, the advantage on the attack from the reckless attack, even if you do count in the disadvantage of the disadvantages of that ability, being able to kill things when attacking seems to be stronger. She is a beast. That is true. Live and let live. Let's see if this happens now, though, right? Now we get to science it. The bugbear can turn around and crit me because everybody's missing him. Everybody's missing in general. And Eredin is out. He chooses to kill Barth. So let's just do this. Let's see what Karlach has. She still has turns on her rage. Let's see what happens. I'm assuming that Karlach is going to be okay. And not saying this because of the sheer luck that we just experienced, but generally because that is my experience. Alright. So that's it for Karlach. Moving on to Lae'zel. And these are all honor mode saves I intend to play at some point. These are not custom games or whatever. All of these are honor mode games that could potentially end up in me losing time, but this takes 10 minutes to reach, right? So, just the quick pre-dash, which I always allow. I always allow for those pre-buffs. Okay. Let's go. So as opposed to Karlach, Lae'zel does not have any really strong, outside obviously of the action surge, which is very, very good. She doesn't have any very, very strong defining level 2 abilities that's going to keep her running throughout the fight. She doesn't have any rage, doesn't have any way of reducing damage in the same way that Karlach does. So my expectation is that this is going to be more difficult. And because of the very odd inspiration that is locked down for Lae'zel with the soldier background in this particular combat, is that you need to make sure that everybody survives, nobody can die. If you want that inspiration to succeed, you need to play it a little bit aggressively, I find. And I tried at some point in what is it called, tactician mode, to see is this even possible, and it is possible. It's just very difficult, and it's probably not something you would expect to happen. But, and I'm doing this two-hander style. I could have done this with a shield, but Lae'zel is a badass, as we all know. So I'm just using. Okay, that might have been a poor choice. Now the Booyah can hit me with his Ray of Sickness. So that could be a problem. Let's see what happens. one of my main problems with this game is that when I take breaks, and at the moment this happens so frequently because of family stuff, like I practically don't have like 10 minutes to play the game like consistently without some kind of interruption. I forget like things all the time, and I end up making mistakes that get myself killed all the time. So I think that for me that's a very big part of why I'm messing up so much. Misclick, forgetting things, stuff like that, stupid things. I just needed the Ogre. I needed the Ogre. It, you know, critique. This is what I'm talking about. This might have been like the poorest judgment call at all. I chose to summon those ogres because I was like, well, it can't hurt, and I need them to die because I need the crown. Because I never get a chance to use those ogres anywhere, and I need to use them at something that will kill them, and you know, I made a poor judgment call. So probably I just killed myself at that point. The intention was for the ogres to die and maybe do a little bit of damage to Grim, which was a bad call, I think. And also, I was a little bit curious because when you summon the ogres in the Grim fight, it seems like they tend to spawn in the opposite platform to you. But then at one point they spawned in the same platform as I was, and I was really curious to see where will they spawn. But the Grim encounter is so finicky. You cannot make any mistakes there, basically. No matter what kind of rule set or strategy you're running, you need to be very, very, very careful what you're doing, obviously. Like everybody knows, and it had been maybe, let's say, 40-50 hours since I was at Grimfort last or something, like in-game play time. So in reality, maybe 2 weeks since I saw that fight last time, and so I made some very, very poor judgment. See, already now the inspiration is gone. And I'm going to stay up here with my 10 dexterity. That is interesting. I have 10 dex, so maybe I'm not doing that.
Make way.
I think we're going. Let's see. Jump is 8 meters, and no, wait, it's not. It's 3 movement speed. And let's take the damage here. Boing. Oh my goodness. All right. Already this is interesting. I should have gone into the pit a little bit earlier with the very low dexterity that I, for whatever reason, planned on this character. Because now I'm going to die. Okay. So we're going to do a disengage, and I cannot run at this point because this walk is going to come after me. What I can do, I think, I'm not entirely sure, is jump this way and run this way and maybe, just maybe survive. Let's see. So the outcome in this particular case was not particularly in the good guy's favor. Luckily, the archer was killed. It's a real problem because you, in a solo challenge, you want that crown, right? So if you need to put that, you need to plan somewhere to use that. Use that horn every time so you don't mess up. This has been the worst outcome of any grove fight that I have ever seen in my time playing this game. I've never seen an outcome this bad. Also, another problem with Lae'zel is that is that she does not have the fallout plan, the fallout plan up here. So normally, if you play as Will, for instance, and there's a very big chance that this is going to be problematic. Then you can kite all of the remaining enemies down to the place where the two tieflings are hiding out with Lae'zel, and then they will help you kill the stuff. But since Lae'zel is not there, the tieflings are not there, and thus no reinforcements. So unless I want her to just die here, which I don't, I'm going to run in here. Yeah, that is another way critique that something that I'm contemplating. You know, I can use the short rest. I cannot use the short rest. I'm just gonna go head back out and see if the fight has not resolved itself. I'm now back in the fight. Oh wait, it has not resolved itself. That's bad. So probably I'm going to die. Question is, yeah, game over. Game over. Right. So Lae'zel is obviously not from this singular situation, but she is in a worse situation than Karlach, no matter how you view it. Because there is no damage reduction, there is no advantage on attacks, so all of the components that makes the momentum strong at Karlach, Lae'zel doesn't have. She has the action surge, which was useful, but then next up is, let's see. Oh wait, we can't delete yet. Next up is Shadowheart. No wait, going to choose Astarion first. Yeah, so having them at the red caps makes sense. Yeah, Druid has a routing planned using the ogres at the beach always, which is his way to do it, and that makes sense. Just have a place where you always use those, because then you kind of you know it. As much as you can put on a safe autopilot, the better. You can't anymore. Yeah. Okay, and we have Astarion ready to go. I'm going to... I don't think this makes any difference. I'm going to pop. Only one dash seems to work. And so, my opinion, I know that this was a bad roll, and Astarion has 17 in dex in my setup, so he does have a +3, but even then he rolled poorly on the initiative, or the others rolled really high. In my opinion, even with a low armor class, for whatever, he doesn't have a shield because he doesn't have shield proficiency. So, otherwise I would have that. So what I like to do is I like to go here, use my bonus action in the early game and shoot with advantage and miss. That's what I prefer to do. That's the way that I normally do this. So the normally what I would say statistically the advantage, the factor of having advantage solves, like in so many times it solves your problem with getting anything. And so the only two characters who have advantage early game like consistently are Astarion and Karlach, and for that reason I would normally place them as S tier to deal with this encounter. But for whatever reason, like the game didn't want that to happen for me today. But let's see what happens when he gets turned again. Oh, critical miss. Okay. Right, so this is already shitty. Probably just an ranged attack, which miss. And cunning action hide down here. I'm never yeah, critique, like my very weird sadistic gimmick is that I don't use any consumables. I don't drink any potions. I don't consume any scrolls. And so far, outside of me not knowing about a very, very important mechanic in the late game, I managed to get up until Oren on the Warlock. So I'm pretty certain it can be done at this point. What is going on with this RNG? Come on. Yeah. So, like Druid says, anybody with burning hands is a strong contender, and I tend to agree because it seems like this fight seems like if you're able to kill the 2 trackers on the top of the hill very early on most characters, this will be very impactful. But when you don't kill these and they stand and they shoot and everything going on down there in the valley or whatever you want to call it on the ground, things can get really, really hairy. So should we see if this is has better odds? I know that Dog is going to come for me, but let's try this for.
Let's find some prey.
Out of all of the times that I've done this with Astarion, and I did do this at least 20 times, this has never been this bad. Because then you can instantaneously hide, and then you're ready to sneak attack. I mean, it should be the absolute strongest level 2 character to deal with this. Snipe, hide, snipe, hide. For free.
Time for a new approach.
They know I'm there. So what I'm thinking is getting rid of this guy. He's the most dangerous. And then it's run, Forest, run. So this is the situation where I've been trying most of the time when the encounter goes sour, is that these 3 guys are up, or maybe just the 2 of them really. And so no matter if it's just 1 or 2, you need to stay out of the range of the walk, because that will definitely hamstring you for real. So I'm just running for it at this point. But critique, I think my my successful Merkel fight is somewhere in the stacks. in the VOD section of the Twitch channel. So if you are bored at some point, you can try and dig that up, or I can find it for you. It's like, obviously it's 1.5 or maybe 2 hours long or something along those lines. But in that encounter, I run the whole encounter with no consumables, and the only abilities that I'm using is the ones that are already available to Will. And it gets a little bit dicey at the end, but I do manage to kill him.
Let me down, and I'll show you true might.
Now they seem...
And this is, I think, this fight is a little bit like in the Grimforge fight versus Nier, depending on how you like to do it, obviously. But I always do the brawl between the dwarves. I don't plan on changing that, because the alternatives are plain boring. The alternatives involves a lot of murder hoboing, which I like to keep to a minimum. So when you do it that way and you need an escape plan, you can escape. Oh yeah, I already have advantage. You can escape back to the Masons and to some of the other dwarves, and even all the way back to the slavers, or the dwarves keeping the bull-like creatures over by the rock, and they will also be loyal to the clan. So so that kind of kiting is something that I think can be necessary in this type.
We can't risk it escaping.
Okay, I think we're done, and hopefully Sevlor is done fighting the last goblin. We'll find out in a moment. And then we'll do the Shadowheart one. And Sarkrok is dead. Okay, great. Okay. And finally... And this is perhaps one of my more favorite ones. I don't know how I feel about Gale. I don't feel very good about Gale generally, but he seems to be a very interesting as well, because some of the stuff that he can do. And then I'm going to use Druid's favorite spell in this encounter, the one that he cherishes the most out of all of the spells in the game, because that's the kind of person I am. The setup is Bless and Sanctuary as the baseline for doing this, which you'll see in a moment, and then the rest of the spells are kind of, I can use them, but like no more concentration spells, and so it doesn't seem to make any sense to change this around. Obviously, Shadowheart is with the basic setup with her trickery is a very, very bad subclass in comparison to the others. So we're going to sprint. I'm not going to do anything else for the tree. Or I could have done the Blade Ward. Right, so obviously very poor initiative. So, oh, he blows the horn. Great. So the plan is to bless as many of the stronger NPCs with bless within turn 1 or turn 2. At least some of the NPCs that are going to survive, because the idea is if you increase the chance to hit on some of the NPCs fighting, if they deal damage every turn, that is going to increase the odds dramatically. But since that Aradin is already dying, I am a little bit skeptical. Let's see. Let us see. Alright. Think perhaps down here maybe? Let's try this. See? Oh, we can't hit Will. God damn it. That's a problem. So I am going to throw down. We're going to risk it all. We're really going to do this? think we're going to risk it all. Going to use the special trickery thing, illusory double. I have 3 spell slots, so I think I'm going to attempt to heal somebody. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to attempt to heal Aridin. And then I'm going to cross my fingers that I don't die in this turn. And the duplicity is gone. Immediately. Will is there though. Yes. Good job, Seblo.
I'll bleed every last one of
Probably pre-buffing Blade Ward was something I should have done.
A little help,
Okay.
please.
1 hit point. That's fine. Everything is fine. So we're going to go with Sanctuary. Bam. And then Will is doing pretty well. Bath is still up, and Aridin is in the game. Ramira. I'm just going to go in here. Bless. I'm going to bless these guys. And then we end the turn. Ramira, no. This is fine. 1 hit point. Yeah. So obviously, the absolute spells, as I would call them, the Globe of Invulnerability, the Sanctuary spell, the abilities that take you out of the combat, absolutely out of the combat because of the way that the AI is working. Let's say, for instance, that the AI was able to use AoE spells on you when you were in Sanctuary, effectively. Then that would reduce the value of the ability, but it's not coded that way. I don't have a paladin. I only had like 4 or 5 of these, so I don't intend on doing anything else. I didn't have time to play consistently, and then I was like, I just prepared a couple of playthroughs, and obviously I need to rethink things with Lae'zel because that was not very good. So this is going very poorly, but on the upside, I'm invulnerable. And remember, I don't have any intentions of surviving with X amount of characters. I just have the intention of completing the encounter with the resources that I have available to me at level 3, without fleeing the encounter completely. So the intention is just to get to the cutscene where Sevlor says, "Get in, everybody, we've done it." That's the intention. Yeah. But like, I've done this, I think, 3 or 4 times where I've done it this way, and generally the good guys always win, obviously because Sevlor is shooting them from above. But this looks interesting already. This looks interesting already. What do we have? 4 turns left. 3 turns left. Okay. So I'm thinking I might need to move slightly to the side. Karlach has too many hit points. Wonderful. But the great thing about this encounter for me is that this is one of the places where more or less everybody playing this are in the same boat. No matter what your personal rule set for playing your playthrough is, this is going to be relatively the same. So if I use potions, yes, sure, I will drink potions and that will be fine. That will make a bit of a difference. If I have a scroll that does one or two things, that will improve my action economy for sure. But like on a large scale, this is going to be difficult for everybody. Everybody's going to have that experience where this is inconsistent. But like this was, I mean, okay, so I mean, this was like this turned out the worst possible way it could, more or less, outside of me dying, and I still complete the raid because of, you know, because of these goblin trackers that are just standing around shooting the gate for 0 damage and not hunting me down. But like the Lae'zel version, for instance, seems to be more difficult.
That was bracing.
That was interesting. Okay. Let me just see what else I have. I don't think I have anything else. Let me just delete this one. No. So